Okay, it looks like it's working. All right, what's up, guys? Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about YouTube and what I think about the platform. So I'm just going to be very brief. I think YouTube is bullshit, and I'm going to explain to you guys why. The reason is due to all the changes and everything that YouTube's made over the past years that I've been using it. I remember using YouTube back in 2012 when I was just about 9 years old, I think, or maybe I was 8. I don't know. Anyway, I just want to talk about YouTube and what I think about the platform and why I think it's bullshit, in my opinion. So, so as a content creator who's been making animated content for about 8 years, so making content for that long, I would definitely say I am a animation veteran. YouTube is bullshit in terms of recommending and different channels and different videos. It's like back in 2015, or no, not really 2015. Back in 2020 when I was making animated content, 2020 was probably the biggest year that my channel blew up, and also when I got my finally got 1,000 subscribers. That was really cool, but I'm not going to talk about that. Instead, I just want to say that. Instead, I just want to say why I think YouTube is slowly killing content creators, especially people who make animations. And this is coming from someone who's animated for 8 years. Someone who's been creating content longer than a lot of you guys probably have. So take what I say with a grain of salt. Let's just get into this. So back then, with a lot of the changes going on with YouTube during these past few years, it's been getting harder and harder for them to actually find the right videos and find the right people to recommend to viewers. And I think a lot of that has to do with the sort of content that's on YouTube, and there's probably billions of active users every day on the platform. So that's got to be the reason for it. All right. But back then this didn't seem like as much of an issue. Being really good at animation and knowing how to do it well and knowing what your audience wants and being able to perform quality content, it seems like it isn't enough now like it was back then. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Because back in 2020, again, 2020 is probably the biggest year my channel blew up, and when I really started getting those views and those subscribers, a lot of that could just do with the fact that we were all in quarantine, and obviously YouTube had to recommend some stuff for us to pass the time, and out of all that content, they decided to take it upon themselves to recommend my videos, and I'm super grateful for that. But at the same time, I really think those videos that blew up on my channel are more quantity than quality. Just bear with me. My most viewed videos have about hundreds of thousands of views, but they are not my best work. But in my opinion, they are definitely not the height of my talent, not my best work, and honestly, it feels like it just seems like a lot of people like to say that's just life, and while I would agree with them, I also think it's just bullshit in my opinion, and I think a lot of you will agree with me on that one. It's like back then, if you were really good at animating and you posted, it was really easy to blow up back then. And I think this was held true to a lot of people who made animation memes back in 2017, myself included. Back in 2017 all the way up to like 2020 when the pandemic hit, this was probably when animation memes were at their peak. This was probably the highlight for this was probably the biggest these were probably the biggest times from 2017 to 2020 for animation memes. And a lot of channels seem to follow this approach, and yeah, I can't really complain too much about that. But being good at animating now, it seems like it's no longer enough to actually become successful. I really generally wish that things were different, that we would actually being good, being talented at animation was enough to actually become successful. But life isn't fair sometimes. I mean, I see animations a lot, as an 8-year animation veteran. I see so many great ones that just don't blow up. They only get maybe a couple hundred to 1,000 at most, while people that create content have less effort put into them, and for some reason it just blows up. It's bullshit. It makes no sense. I'm not dissing anyone on this. I'm not going to say any names in particular. I just want to speculate that a lot of these successful videos, it's more quantity than quality. And honestly, my animations, I don't want it to be like that. I want quality animations, and I want people to see them. I prefer a small community that's kind, that's generous and understands things, than a big community that's just toxic and all that crap. I'm not going to say specific names here, but hopefully you know what I mean. And back in 2020, my channel was at its all-time best. But it's like nowadays, my videos are not getting nearly as many views. I've been doing YouTube Shorts, and well, now as an animator, it seems like just being good at animation is no longer enough to become successful. You have to be able to do a lot more, being able to not only find things that your audience will generally like, but also be able to balance the quality out by making quality thumbnails, being able to put your longer works into YouTube Shorts, and also being able to have that be the main focus. If you fluctuate between, like my channel, I tend to fluctuate between animation and guitar, and you can clearly see the difference in views, that a lot of you guys prefer my animations over my guitar videos, and honestly, that's understandable. I definitely think that's understandable. But one thing I can definitely say is that the YouTube algorithm is flawed. It is not perfect, and it's just the wackiest thing I've ever seen. I mean, you'll just see random videos pop up in your recommendations for no reason. And I think that's where a lot of the views come from, is from people just browsing on their phone or computer and stumbling across these videos. And obviously not everyone's going to watch what's recommended to them, but there's a really good chance that you might have clicked on a video that was recommended to you. And most of those videos were probably really old, probably really short and straight to the point, and I mean, that's okay, but well, I guess what I'm getting at here is that if anyone is new to the platform and you're trying to grow their channel by making animations, kind of like I did back in 2015, just know it is going to be very tough now than it was back then. Much tougher now than it was back then. While growing a channel back then was simple, especially if you did animation memes and animated music videos and all that, that's no longer enough just being good. You have to be able to play YouTube's game and be able to keep up. I could not do this, especially since I'm going to be starting college soon. So yeah, it's going to be harder to grow your channel now than it was back then. And if anyone's watching this, hopefully you learned something. I mean, I guess I can give you some tips on how you can grow a channel if you're animating. The first step to maybe growing your channel is trying to figure out exactly what the audience what your target audience is, what sort of audience you want to attract with your content. And the second tip is to what's the second tip? All right, I said the first one was to find out what your target audience wants to be, what you want the main focus of your channel to be. My main focus is animation, so I stick with that. And if your main focus is going to be animations, I'm not saying you can't mix it up with other things like guitar and all that. I tend to do that a lot, but if you go from creating a bunch of different things, going from animation to sports related content to, I don't know, vlogs to skits and gaming videos, it's going to be really hot. You're going to fluctuate. You're going to have your audience divided when you probably want them to be all together to watch your content. So the first thing is to pick what you want to do on the platform. If you do animation like I do, then have that be the main focus. Most of my videos are, so it's not really a huge problem for me. But the second is to find what sort of animation your audience would watch. Obviously, my animations tend to fluctuate between my own characters and characters from different fandoms. And I'd say with fandom characters, it is much easier to gain popularity from those because they're characters from things that they recognize. So picking a certain fandom that a lot of audiences know compared to a fandom that's not very popular among fans can really make a huge difference. Again, I'm not going to say specific names here, but if you look at the view difference between different fandoms, like my God of War animation that I spent really a lot of time working on, that obviously did not do as well as an animation based on something that a lot of people know on YouTube. And I think the popularity of a fandom, or how popular your character is, can really contribute to how well that video will do. So that is the second tip, picking what sort of things audiences find intriguing. And the third thing is resilience. And that's the third and the most important thing is resilience. Okay, this is basically the online equivalent of getting knocked down on the ground because your video didn't do so well, but then immediately getting back up to immediately create the next video. So that's the biggest tip I can give. Sorry about that. That's the most important thing, is you have to keep making content. I know it's a lot of work. I know it's very hard, but trust me, if you want to be successful, you have to put in those reps. You have to work hard on your animations, and you have to do, well, for anything in general, it's a lot of hard work, and you have to be very resilient. You have to be tough to be able to grow your channel, because the only way you're going to grow is to keep making more. Because keep in mind that if you make a lot of content, not everything you do is going to be good, or not everything is going to be a home run. And as you can see from my channel, the videos I have on YouTube prove that. My most viewed video has about 150k views, while my least viewed video has, I'd say, 1 to 2 views, probably from me. It's probably from me though, so nobody watched it, but yeah. That's the biggest thing. You have to pick a topic, a particular topic that you want your channel's main focus to be. In my case, it's mainly animation and art, so I stick with that for the most part. And if it's art and animation or something in general, pick a specific thing that you want the art to focus on. Most of my art focuses on either my characters or characters from fandoms, so people like that. And the third is to just not stop posting. Making a video and seeing it not blow up and getting discouraged after that is the equivalent of not getting back up after getting pushed down. Now, being resilient and focusing on making more content if your previous videos don't blow up is the equivalent of getting knocked down to the ground and immediately getting your ass back up. So that's all I wanted to share. I wish you new content creators the best of luck, and I hope you learned something from this.